Hey, Dr. Simeon Roger here, and welcome back to the video series 18 Things That Peak Performing People Do Differently Than You Do. Peak performers know that 90% of their results in any endeavor will come from one thing. 90% of those results will come from just 10% of what they know. The 10% which are the basics of that particular skill. So 90% of your results come from mastering the basics, and they know that. So they focus on the basics. They don't get lost in all the sexy stuff around whatever they're doing. They focus on the basics. Years ago, I was attending a Tai Chi workshop with a true master of Tai Chi, which is rare to find. And he started berating his students. He said, look, you guys, you have it all wrong. You're going wide, not deep. You're always asking, how can I learn this form, the fast form, the competition form, the sword form, the single arm push hands, double arm push hands. I want to know more stuff. And he said, stop it. Do you realize, he said, that in decades past, in the old country, the way this was traditionally done, and sometimes still is, when people start, they're not even allowed to see the Tai Chi, what you think of as Tai Chi, which is the form, the flowing things that people do in the park. They're not even allowed to see that. All they're told to do is sit in a low horse stance, which is extremely uncomfortable, and stay there until they can't stand it anymore. And they do that day after day for 6 long months. After that, they might spend 6 months doing one thing, maybe just learning to project power and do it properly, learning to project power. And he said, you know what? By your standards, those people don't know Tai Chi at all. However, any one of them can throw any one of you through a wall. So in terms of Tai Chi as a martial art, who knows Tai Chi? Them or you? Pretty obvious. So 90% of results come from 10% of the basics. And another example that really hit me a couple of weeks ago, I was watching an interview with a Special Forces guy. I think he'd been a ranger in the U.S., and he was detached to work with Delta Force for a while. So Delta Force, Tier 1 Special Forces. And he said, we looked at the guys in Delta Force as gods, as wizards. They seemed to know what was going to happen on the battlefield before it ever did. They were just unbelievably good. And then his interviewer asked him, well, why is this? What makes them so special? What do they know that you don't? And he basically said, what do they know that we don't? Nothing. It's just that they obsess about the basics. They're obsessively good about what really matters. And they focus on that relentlessly, and they never let that go. They never get sloppy. So in your own life, ask you, to apply this. Where do you want to be really good? Where do you want to shine? What skills do you need? Where do you want to be world class? Whenever there's a skill you need to be really good at, simply break it down. What are the building blocks of this skill? What 3 or 4 things do you have to be really, really good at to do this? And guaranteed, it's that small percentage of things that people learn at the beginning with any human endeavor that really matter. And the rest is fluff. The rest is commentary. The rest is the sexy stuff that people get distracted with. Think of basketball, for instance, and somebody who maybe wants to be the next Michael Jordan. What should they focus on? Well, I'm just using this as an illustration. I haven't played basketball in a while. I'm under 6 feet. I did not lose out on an NBA career. Just putting that out there. But, it occurs to me from all the basketball I did play that you'd probably want to focus on dribbling, which is controlling the ball, passing, layups, and free throws. Maybe just those 4 things, 4 skills. Very simple to focus on 4 things without getting really distracted by all kinds of other stuff. So with any human endeavor, there are always skills that matter and skills that don't. Or skills that matter a lot and skills that matter a lot less. It's like the difference between a lever and a boulder. With a lever, you can move anything. With leverage, you can move anything. But there are skills which you can work at in any human endeavor. There are skills you can work at for a long, long time, but it's never going to provide that level of benefit to you. So it's really important to know the difference between those 2 things. So that's it. Find out what are those 10% of things that will give you 90% of your results. Peak performers know this. You need to know it too. If you want more content like this to get you to the top of your game, then be sure to like and subscribe. If we're doing a webinar on mindset and peak performance in the next 2 weeks, it'll be down below, and that allows us to really do a deep dive into these things and not only unpack them more, but put them in a framework that's far easier for you to implement. So that's it for now. I'm Dr. Samin Raja. Have a fantastic day.